There are places on Earth where stepping foot means you might never come back. And some of them, they're not even marked on your map. Right now, while you're watching this video in the safety of your home, there are locations scattered across our planet where death isn't just possible. It's expected. These aren't your typical dangerous neighborhoods or sketchy back alleys. We're talking about places where the air itself can kill you, where the ground beneath your feet could explode at any moment, or where simply existing there for more than a few minutes means certain death. Today, I'm taking you through 5 of the most dangerous places on Earth. Places where nature, history, and human mistakes have created death traps that most people don't even know exist. Here's the thing about dangerous places. We hear about them all the time, right? Dangerous cities, dangerous animals, dangerous situations. But what makes a place truly dangerous isn't just the risk, it's the certainty. It's when visiting a location isn't a gamble, it's a death sentence. And these 5 places? They've earned their reputation through decades of deaths, disasters, and documented proof that they simply cannot support human life. Some were created by us, others have existed since the dawn of time. But all of them share one thing in common. They don't forgive mistakes. Number 5. The Danakil Desert, Ethiopia. Let's start with a place that looks like it came straight out of a science fiction movie. The Danakil Desert in Ethiopia is often called the cruelest place on Earth. And when you look at the numbers, it's easy to see why. This desert sits at the junction of 3 tectonic plates, which means the ground is literally tearing itself apart. The average temperature here? About 94 degrees Fahrenheit. But that's the average. During the day, temperatures regularly hit 120 degrees. Some days, it reaches 145. That's hot enough to cook an egg on a rock. Actually, forget the rock. You could probably cook it on the ground. But the heat isn't even the worst part. The Danakil Desert is home to Erta Ale, one of only 6 lava lakes in the entire world. This volcano has been continuously erupting since 1967. That's over 50 years of constant volcanic activity. The lava lake sits in a crater that glows orange and red at night, and the toxic gases it releases can kill you if you get too close. Then there's the Dalal crater. This place is something else entirely. It's the hottest inhabited place on Earth, and I use the word inhabited very loosely. The ground here is covered in bright yellow sulfur deposits, acidic pools that can melt through your shoes, and geysers that shoot boiling water into the air. The landscape looks like an alien planet, with neon greens, bright oranges, and electric yellows covering everything. It's beautiful in the most terrifying way possible. The local Afar people do live near the edges of this desert, mining salt from the ancient seabed that dried up millions of years ago. But even they know better than to spend too much time in the deeper parts. Dehydration happens fast here. Your body can't cool itself when the air temperature is higher than your body temperature. Your sweat evaporates before it even forms on your skin. People have died here from heat stroke in less than an hour. And if the heat doesn't get you, the toxic gases will. Or the unstable ground. Or the fact that there's absolutely no water anywhere. It's a place where everything is trying to kill you at once. Number 4. Oymyakon, Russia. From the hottest place on Earth, let's go to the coldest. Oymyakon is a small village in Russia that holds the record for the coldest inhabited place on the planet. The temperature here once dropped to negative 96.2 degrees Fahrenheit. That's almost 100 degrees below zero. Think about that for a second. At those temperatures, your breath freezes before it leaves your mouth. Your eyelashes freeze shut if you blink too long. Exposed skin gets frostbite in under a minute. Car engines have to run continuously because if you turn them off, they'll never start again. The fuel literally freezes solid. About 500 people live in Oymyakon, and their daily lives are something most of us couldn't even imagine. There are no indoor plumbing systems because the pipes would freeze and burst immediately. Outhouses are standard, which means braving negative 80-degree weather just to use the bathroom. Growing food is impossible. The ground is permanently frozen several feet down, a condition called permafrost. Everything has to be imported or hunted. Even burying the dead is a nightmare. The ground is so frozen that graves have to be prepared days in advance, using bonfires to slowly thaw the earth layer by layer. It can take days just to dig deep enough. But here's what makes Oymyakon truly dangerous: the isolation. The village is so remote that if something goes wrong, help isn't coming. The nearest city is a 2-day drive away, and that's only when the roads are passable. During the worst of winter, the village is completely cut off from the outside world. If you run out of fuel, if you get injured, if you get sick, you're on your own. The human body wasn't designed to survive in these conditions. Your lungs hurt with every breath because the air is so cold it feels like inhaling glass. Your body burns through calories at an insane rate just trying to stay warm. And if you're caught outside without proper gear during a storm, you have minutes, not hours. People choose to live here, which is remarkable. But make no mistake, this isn't a place you visit casually. This is a place where nature reminds you every single day that you're not welcome. Number 3. Snake Island, Brazil. Off the coast of Brazil, about 25 miles from Sao Paulo, there's an island that the Brazilian government has made illegal to visit. It's called Ilha da Queimada Grande, but everyone knows it as Snake Island. And the reason you can't go there is simple. It has the highest concentration of venomous snakes anywhere on Earth. We're not talking about a few snakes hiding under rocks. We're talking about 1 snake per square meter. The entire island is crawling with golden lancehead vipers, one of the most venomous snakes in the world. These snakes are found nowhere else on the planet. They evolved on this island, isolated from the mainland, and they became incredibly efficient killers. Their venom is 5 times more potent than their mainland cousins. It's a hemotoxin, which means it destroys tissue and causes internal bleeding. A bite from a golden lancehead can kill you in under an hour. And there's no antivenom specifically designed for this species. If you get bitten, you're in serious trouble. But here's what makes these snakes even more terrifying. They hunt birds. Most snakes wait for prey to come to them, but golden lanceheads have adapted to hunt actively. They climb trees, they strike fast, and their venom works quickly, because birds fly away if they're not killed immediately. This evolutionary pressure made them incredibly aggressive and incredibly deadly. The island used to have a lighthouse, and there are stories about the last lighthouse keeper and his family who lived there. According to local legend, the snakes got into the lighthouse one night, and the family tried to escape through the windows. They didn't make it far. Their bodies were found in the forest, covered in bite marks. After that, the lighthouse was automated, and the government declared the island off-limits. Scientists occasionally get permits to visit for research, but even they don't stay long. Every step you take is a risk. The snakes are camouflaged perfectly in the vegetation. They're in the trees above you, they're in the grass beneath you, and they're not afraid of humans because they've never had to be. The island is small, only about 100 acres, but it's one of those rare places where nature has created a perfect killing machine and given it an entire island to rule. There's a reason the locals call it the Island of Death. Number 2. Lake Natron, Tanzania. In northern Tanzania, right on the border with Kenya, there's a lake that turns animals into stone. I'm not speaking metaphorically. Lake Natron actually calcifies animals that die in its waters, preserving them as stone-like statues. The lake gets its name from natron, a naturally occurring mixture of sodium carbonate and sodium bicarbonate. The water here has a pH level between 9 and 12, which makes it as alkaline as ammonia. That's not water you can swim in. That's water that burns your skin on contact. The temperature of the lake can reach 140 degrees Fahrenheit. Combined with the extreme alkalinity, Lake Natron is basically a giant chemical soup that dissolves organic matter. When birds or bats crash into the lake's surface, mistaking it for a normal body of water because of its reflective quality, they die almost immediately. The alkaline water then calcifies their bodies, preserving them in twisted, haunting positions. A photographer named Nick Brandt documented this phenomenon, and his pictures show perfectly preserved birds, bats, and other animals standing along the shore like statues. They look like they've been turned to stone by some ancient curse. In reality, they've been mummified by the lake's chemistry. But here's the strangest part. Flamingos thrive here. Lake Natron is actually one of the most important breeding grounds for lesser flamingos in the world. These birds have adapted to feed on the spirulina algae that grows in the lake, and their legs have tough skin that can handle the alkaline water. For them, this deadly lake is a paradise. For almost everything else, it's a death trap. The area around the lake is hostile too. The ground is covered in salt crusts that crack and break under your weight. There are no trees, no shade, no fresh water for miles. The heat is intense, and the smell of sulfur fills the air. Walking around Lake Natron feels like walking on another planet. Local tribes do live near the lake, and they've learned to respect its dangers. But tourists who ignore warnings have ended up with severe burns. The water can damage your eyes, your skin, and your respiratory system if you breathe in the spray. And if you fall in? The combination of heat, alkalinity, and the lake's tendency to disorient swimmers means you might not make it out. Lake Natron is beautiful from a distance, with its red and pink hues created by the microorganisms that thrive in extreme conditions. But get too close, and you'll understand why it's called one of the deadliest bodies of water in the world. Number 1. Chernobyl Exclusion Zone, Ukraine. On April 26, 1986, reactor number 4 at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant exploded. It released 400 times more radiation than the atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima. It's considered the worst nuclear disaster in history. And the area around the plant? It's still one of the most dangerous places on Earth. The Chernobyl Exclusion Zone covers about 1,000 square miles. Nobody is allowed to live there permanently. The radiation levels in some areas are still high enough to kill you in minutes. Not hours, minutes. Right after the explosion, Soviet authorities tried to cover it up. They didn't evacuate the nearby city of Pripyat until 36 hours after the meltdown. 50,000 people lived there, and they were told to take only what they could carry because they'd be back in a few days. They never came back. The city remains abandoned, frozen in time, a ghost town with schools still full of books, apartments still full of furniture, and an amusement park that never got to open. The most dangerous spot in the entire zone is called the Elephant's Foot. It's a massive corium, a lava-like mixture of nuclear fuel, concrete and sand that formed when the reactor melted down. When it was first discovered, standing next to it for 5 minutes would give you a lethal dose of radiation. You'd be dead within 2 days. Even today, decades later, it's still extremely radioactive. But here's what most people don't understand about radiation. You can't see it, smell it, or feel it. You could walk into a highly contaminated area and not know anything was wrong until you start feeling sick hours or days later. By then, the damage is done. Your cells have been destroyed at the molecular level. Your bone marrow stops producing blood cells. Your organs begin to fail. And there's nothing doctors can do. The forests around Chernobyl are contaminated. The water is contaminated. The soil is contaminated. Animals have moved back into the area, and some of them show mutations, extra limbs, strange growths, unusual behaviors. The radiation doesn't just kill. It changes things at a fundamental level. Tourists can visit parts of the exclusion zone now, but only with guides and only in designated areas. You have to pass through radiation checkpoints when you leave to make sure you're not carrying contaminated particles. And even in the safer zones, you're still getting exposed to low levels of radiation. It's like smoking a cigarette. One won't kill you, but you're still taking a risk. The Soviet government sent thousands of liquidators into the zone after the disaster. These were firefighters, soldiers, and workers who were ordered to clean up the radioactive debris. Many of them died within weeks. Others developed cancer years later. They were heroes who sacrificed themselves to contain a disaster that could have been much worse. But their sacrifice also shows just how deadly this place really is. Scientists estimate that parts of the Chernobyl exclusion zone won't be safe for human habitation for 20,000 years. That's longer than recorded human history. We built this danger ourselves, and now it's going to outlive our civilization.